Mary Meet Annie here. Welcome to Monday on Pagan Perspective. We're talking about energy this week. And we actually have two, at least to me, two very different questions about energy. The first one comes from Draco Hemming, who's asking us what's a proper way or a good way of directing energy. That person says, I hear talk of using wands or even one's own finger. What is it supposed to be exactly? And my answer is it's not supposed to be anything exactly. It is whatever the practitioner needs to use as a way of focusing. So I'm going to assume, because the question is how to direct energy, that the practitioner has arrived at a place that they have come up with their own personal style to manifest energy, to create energy, that they are in touch with whatever it is, wherever they get their energy from. So that's the first step in deciding how do you want to direct your energy, is where did it come from? How did it manifest? Where are you holding it? I like to use sticks or wands, and especially my blade, because the blade becomes to me a portal between the energy I've manifested and whatever I am releasing it towards or into, if I'm directing it into something or outward. It's a between me and where I'm sending it. It's a moment of pause to stop and think, to refocus and direct. So to me, I use the blade or my finger because I'm familiar with where I raise my energy from and how I move it through my body, and there's this moment of pause right before I project it outward. That's my moment of stop, think, and absolute pinpoint focus, which is, to me, more often than not, the use of my blade. So Draco Hemming's question was, what's it supposed to be exactly? It is however one manifests one's energy, one's will, one's focus, how one directs it. How one directs it. There are as many ways to direct energies as there are practitioners who are directing energies. The other question came from Shineri Vu, who told us that they are having discussions with other people about the difference between Meridians and Nardis, and Chi and Prana. And the question was, were they the same or were they different? So I thought that was a really, really interesting question. I didn't see it having any relationship to Draco Hemming's question about directing energy, because to me the energy of, whether we call it Chi or Prana, is internal energy held within, not something aimed outwards or towards another person or another thing or manifesting something outside of this. So I saw it a little bit differently. So it'll be interesting to hear what the other hosts have to say about that. I did a little Googling because I wondered out there what's being said, and more often than not it was being said that the two are the same. In other words, the Meridians and the Nardis, as I say it, whether it's correct or not, I'm not sure. Anyway, there are two systems, one Vedic and one Chinese, Japanese, and they talk about the movement of energy through the body and the paths that the energy takes as it moves through our body. And in general, the internet seems to say they're pretty much one and the same. I didn't see it that way, and I'll explain why in a moment. And the other part of that was Prana and Chi. Are they one and the same? Because they are often referred to as life force, life energy, the energy of the universe. They seem to have a lot of commonality. I also don't see them the same. However, most of what I Googled said, same thing, different word. Here's why I don't see them the same. Because of an Asian friend who doesn't see them the same at all. Similar, oh, no doubt similar, but my friend explained to me that the Vedic idea of the energy channels of our body, what moves through our body, is the life energy, the life force that moves through and feeds the body. It's more like a consciousness, an awareness flow. Now mind you, I'm telling you this from the perspective of my Asian friend, who sees that being very different. And she is a practitioner, a healing practitioner, and has worked with some of the Vedic systems and has worked with a lot of the systems from her own culture. She sees the big difference between the two. Now this is why I'm going to suggest this for Shinari Vu's consideration, to add to the conversation being had about whether they are the same or different. She explains to me that when it is a spiritual system and it is about your beliefs, that the big difference between the Vedic and the Chinese systems is that the Chinese systems in their ancient roots saw no difference between matter and energy. There weren't even words, from what she tells me, about the difference in the two. There wasn't seen, the universe was seen as one, everything a manifestation of the one, of creation, of everything that exists, all being part of it. So she sees the Vedic traditions more about consciousness, God energy, life energy, entering our bodies through the channels and moving through our bodies and feeding different parts of our bodies. She doesn't see it the same way in the Asian practices that she uses. She said that it is more about a wholeness, a connection, not such a separate thing, but that the energy of existence feeds the organs and the blood and the nervous system in the body, but in the sense of it all being balanced with the universe. So when she explained it, I said, well, to me it sounds like the Vedic system is very internal about the energy that comes into the body and moves through the body, and the body as a whole is a cavity filled with this energy that moves. But the way you're explaining then the Asian systems, it's more like it's almost the body's awareness of its connection. It's being connected to universal energy rather than within the body, that there is no distinction between matter and energy, that it's a matter of wholeness, and that yes, in that system the chi gets out of balance, but by balancing it is not so much this internal working just within the body thing, so much as it is taking advantage of universal energy to balance it. So the other part of Shinari Vu's question was the difference between prana and chi. So that was kind of like, I did see things then on the internet that kind of like matched my friend's thoughts on it. And that was that prana is seen as the energy or life force that comes within, and it flows through all living things. And then chi was more a universal force that didn't distinguish between coming in and moving through as if matter and life force were separate. Now, I'm not going to pretend to understand these differences. To my Asian friend, they were huge. And she said that they're very obvious to her because of her spirituality, which is very old, traditional, beautiful Asian. She has like an ancient soul, and her practices reflect that. So I did find something on the internet that gave words to what my friend saw as the differences. And I think her view on it's important because she is a practitioner and has a lot of Vedic friends who do Ayurvedic medicine, and then she does acupuncture and works with a lot of Asian systems. And what I saw online for prana was what I would have thought it would have been, which is the life force that really truly enters the body, almost a God force, and then touches on and feeds the body and nourishes it. But I saw something that was a descriptor of what chi might be, that I thought really it gave words to what I was trying to explain, and having a difficult time explaining of what she said was the difference, which is chi, is the whole person as part of and influenced by their environment. So it's a completement at the universal level, a completeness, I should say, at the universal level of being balanced in this wider sense and working with not just the body, but everything around the body to balance the chi when the chi is out of balance. And the little bit of experience I've had with acupuncture compared to the experiences I've personally had with Ayurvedic physicians who have been very helpful to me also, is it does seem that the Ayurvedic work has been all about me, all about in my body and what is within my body and moving within my body, and the work that I have had done with Asian practitioners has indeed been more about opening my body up to the universe. So, Shineri Vu, I'm only adding that to the conversation I know you're already having with your associates about the difference between the two. The internet basically saying different words for the same thing. And I would also, because of my spiritual viewpoint, I would have said they were probably very similar, if not one and the same. But my Asian friend's description of chi as universal energy, no distinction between body, environment, soul, spirit, that chi is it all, where prana feels like a specific life energy that flows from the source, the one, and then flows down and through our bodies. Both are very powerful imagery to work with. Personally, I work with neither, but I have had some work done by an Ayurvedic physician, and I've had acupuncture done, and I have felt the difference, and the difference I have felt matches my friend's description, and it comes back to chi as I found it described on the internet as the whole person as part of and influenced by their environment. There's the difference I saw between those two. And a given, as I say that the internet seems to be referring to them as one and the same. There's my thoughts. I don't find our questions from Drapel Hemming about directing energy to have anything in common with Shineri Vu's conversation about the difference between Meridians and Nardis and Prana and Chi. Except it's about energy. Even as I say that, I'm back to my Asian friend's comments that it's not about energy for her and for her kind, because energy is not seen as something separate from. There's no word or belief in energy as something separate. There's my thoughts on that. This is going to be an interesting one to follow as the week goes by. I wish you all mirth and reverence. Merry part.